10 frames in a row he won against members of the crowd, and I think the first 8 or 9 of those were all one-visit clearances.
It's exactly, it's what he does, isn't it? He just makes clearances on the pool table and makes it look easy. And he's going to get the first opportunity here in the opening frame.
Yeah, I mean, if you base purely on what we've seen so far, which really isn't very representative, but Tom has been in probably the best form, you'd have to say, of all the players.
Oh, he's had a little issue with the top right-hand corner pocket there on the replay. Looked in for all money. Out it comes. And these aren't that bad. That's not the shot he wanted to play, though, in terms of the outcome. Just made the 8 ball and the yellow on that side a little bit trickier here.
Different ways, they're both going to love this atmosphere. Chris is a real big-time player, feeds off the crowd. Tom, I think, a bit less concerned about what's going on about him, but loves a big pool tournament.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at the 8 players we've got here and who could handle this sort of environment, which is, you know, for this version of the game is very new, then without doubt it's Chris Melling. You know, everything he's achieved in the game, he's played, you know, in so many major events with you know, very raucous crowds. But I also think Tom will love this sort of stuff. He just does what he does on the table, and I don't think the crowd will affect him.
No, and I think the crowd kind of respected that. A lot of the players were all about the entertainment this afternoon, but for Tom it was just, I'm a really good pool player and I'm going to play pool really well.
Exactly. And he did, and he didn't do many of those this afternoon. He didn't miss.
No, a slightly different prospect, and no disrespect to the members of the crowd that were taking him on, but Chris Melling is a rather different prospect for him. But yeah, I mean, coming back to what you're saying, I mean, this is obviously not on the scale yet of the Mosconi Cup, but it has a very similar sort of vibe, very, you know, sort of raucous, but in a good spirited atmosphere. Lots of shouting to celebrate between shots.
Both players missing in the opening frame, though, quite surprisingly, although that was a tricky opener for Chris Melling.
Well, it's a scrappier start than when we saw these 2 players coming out. I don't think this was what we were predicting. I mean, almost the more entertaining for it, because we're going to see a lot of great pool played across the course of the night. Allow themselves a minute to appear human, the first few shots.
It wouldn't shock me if we don't see another frame that doesn't get cleared from the break the way these 2 play, but yeah, there's a few chances in this frame. And this isn't a certainty for Chris. I mean, you expect him to get them, because every time he gets his hand on the table, you almost expect him to clear up, such as his level. But he does need to play one good shot up to the top.
Both of these players hugely popular in different ways with the crowd, so they're both going to get a lot of support if they deliver the goods on the table. Wow, what are we seeing here? You could count on one hand the number of misses you see from Chris Melling in some tournaments. We've already had several in this frame.
Yeah, this is very surprising. Chris is doing his normal, though, which is just to not react, sit in his chair. But yeah, in his probably mind, it's probably spinning a little bit out there, actually. The first miss was just a tough shot to take on, you know, certainly when you're not flowing yet, but that was a routine pot for Chris Melling.
Yeah, and I don't think you can put it down to pressure. He's played under a lot more pressure than this. Sometimes you just get off to a bad start. He'll shake that off quickly, though. He's not someone to dwell on it. The red's coming nicely out the way for Tom.
Yeah, if you said to Tom Cousins, you're going to miss 2 shots in this match, he'd say there's no chance I can win. Well, he's missed 2 shots in his frame, and he's going to win the frame. Yeah,
and a lot of time spent. Time has not really been a factor in our earlier matches, but 4 minutes down already. So first
a miss hit for
massive
Tom.
Break, but yeah, not as well struck as usual.
Holds up his hand because he still made a ball, but that's as bad as you'll see Tom Cousins hit a break. Telltale sign is this cue ball hits below the centre pocket. There you go. That is a complete miss hit. Puff of the cheeks tells the story as well.
A lot of players wouldn't be that unhappy with that break, but versus his normal one, that's not what we're accustomed to.
Big shot he's taking on here. Tricky pot. It's all about the cannon as well.
Well, still not quite firing. I mean, it was a difficult shot. I think Tom, more so than pretty much any of the top players, just gets after the problem balls on the table so quickly. just immediately his first or second shot, he's always looking for the problem, likes to get the balls open.
Yeah, and he's happy with those sort of angles as well. He's more than happy to take on a pot like that and guarantees his cannon. He doesn't have to worry about the, other players might have looked to try and get a little bit more three-quarter on it to make it a guaranteed pot. He never bothers with that sort of thing.
Both of these guys have that same characteristic, that they're just such good potters that they don't mind if they're not in prime position, which is very helpful. And in fact, Chris has made a career from not always being in prime position, but coming up with the goods nonetheless. I think from the perspective of the match, a 1-1 scoreline is going to probably lead to the best quality match if they both settle down into it early doors.
I think Chris just hit the knuckle there when he was planning to come 2 cushions, and the ball he's eyeing up top left. I think he was thinking about left centre to get onto the next yellow right centre. He's now got a slight issue to solve. Oh, that looked... Yeah, I was going to say, that looked a bit strange. It's the double hit and the foul. So a very strange start to the match continues here for Chris. You don't see that from Chris Melling very often. Hit the ball twice.
Well, proving he's human. There's a few other pool tables around the room where those that have come to watch are able to have a game. It's sort of refreshing to see the top pros do make the mistakes that everybody else makes. And this is worrying signs for Chris Melling. If he'd got it to 1-1, it would all have been forgotten, but as we know, Tom can really ramp up a gear once he gets going. Always just have the same calm demeanour. It doesn't really matter what round, what arena, it just always looks the same.
Yeah, another frame on the board for Tom, and another frame that wasn't a clean kill.
Yeah, I don't think any of the other pros are too pleased at that reminder, because I mean, it's just turned the competition on its head, because as you say, the top 3 players are so far clear in the ranking. Chris Melling has been in 9 Ultimate Pool finals already across those 3 seasons, winning 5 of them.
So are they with numbers 1 and 2 in total tournaments? What's Tom now on 6 titles?
Yeah, Tom has been, he's got a better record in finals, but it's been in less of them, so 6 tournament wins and 1 runners-up spot. So yeah, top of the list.
Shane got 4, isn't he? Unfortunately out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, winning multiple titles is just kind of ridiculous. We've seen some back-to-backs. Tom and Shane have both won back-to-back on the same weekend, which is, you'd have thought would be an almost impossible achievement, as of course did. Mikhail had all the run in year 2. And it seems like every year there's been a dominant player. It's just not been the same one each year.
Yeah, the key is now, can any of the players continue? I mean, there's no doubt for me Chris Melling's been the most consistent player with Ultimate Pool. I mean, it plays out with the number of finals and the number of titles, and obviously the only player to have won every year. But I mean, yeah, who's going to step up and try and join these 3 next year?
I mean, there are times you just plays to a different level. I won't name his opponent because that's mean, but like, he came off one of the Pro Series matches in Blackpool a few weeks ago and was just saying, oh, it's too easy. I mean, that table, it's ridiculous, it plays so hard. And then on the other side of me, I had his opponent saying to his wife or girlfriend, I just couldn't get used to the table, couldn't play on it, it was too difficult.
Well, the tournament you're referencing in the Pro Series 10, what was it, 3-4 weeks ago in Blackpool, I just had a quick chat with Chris after the tournament finished, just after he won. I said, Chris, I know you think this game is easy, but what you've just done on the table this weekend is very, very special, because even amongst the elite, players can't do what you've just done. And obviously a lovely finish here to finally get on the board, but he can elevate his game like no other. It's a redraw for the semi-finals as well.
Yeah, I love this as a format. I mean, it's just perfect for the type of tournament it is.
We've got a messy layout here.
Yeah, not quite got the break firing. This afternoon he was getting the usual sort of elevation off the table, seemed to be catching it really clean. That was a bit better than the last one, but still not a really clean hit.
The thing is, when you're Chris Melling or your only opponent is Tom Cousins and he comes up dry, your first thought when you walk to the table is, well, I'm going to have a great chance here, but that's not the case here for Chris at all.
No, and on a different day, these are the kind of clearances he loves, but not been quite at his best so far. And even there, got himself into a slightly awkward position, queuing over the red. That's the only reason he missed that. Hand on table, that was an unmissable shot. But it shows what an experienced pro he is, because you commented a minute ago about him sitting in his chair, just looking ahead, looking positive still. It sounds easy, but it's not an easy thing to do at all.
Well, the match continues. I mean, that is we saw an incredible miss from Shane at the back end of the last match. I mean, and that's right up there from Tom Cousins.
We've been giving odds on number of balls missed in this match at the beginning. I think we'd have got it wildly wrong so far.
I think the over-under would have been at 2.
Yeah.
We're seeing 2 a frame at the moment.
2 each a frame at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of entertaining for it there, isn't it? These guys on another day do 8 or 9 off the break, and nobody has a chance when they haven't broken. I still think it could change very quickly there. They're both the kind of players that can really put it out of their minds. You wouldn't, I mean, based on this, neither of these two look like likely tournament winners, but I think you really wouldn't rule that out. These two are going to be favourites in a lot of events that they enter. We know, of course, what the last match of the night will be. 2 players that haven't played so far, Stevie Dempsey and Sean Story. Stevie Dempsey, ranked 2 at the end of last season, came into that final at event 10 still with a mathematical chance of taking the number 1 spot, but couldn't quite get it done.
Oh, Chris thought he'd made the ball there because he was happy with the cannon. He was walking on this one. All his attention is on the cannon because it is a delicate little sort of 3-ball cannon, and forgot about the pot. I mean, he's left a poor layout for Tom, but
extension call.
He wouldn't have wanted to allow Tom back to the table.
Earlier on, we got to see the players providing a bit of commentary on themselves. They were all mic'd up while they were playing their games this afternoon. You could see some of the internal monologue when they were missing shots. Inside, Chris Melling must be asking himself a few questions, because I don't think I've ever seen him miss as many balls as this.
No, I think Tom thought he'd gone straight in off there. I think he potted it a little bit on the thin side. Maybe he thought he was getting a cannon, but still difficult.
Oh, what a shot has he played there. I mean, he was playing it as a potential loss of turn, but the fact they've both gone in is...
It's not what he wanted. He's in worse position for making both.
I mean, from that position, if somebody had said you've got to pot both of them, you'd have given yourself next to no chance. Not struck too many balls as pure as he can. That one absolutely plumb on, which hasn't really helped him.
So he's playing another loss of turn, but he's got to hide the white. They're 8 behind the 8 ball here. It's come just a little bit too far, is it? Or has he just got the cover? It's opened everything up. So if Chris can't see or pot this, then Tom's in perfect shape.
Yeah, I think he may have left the potting angle though. Playing with a little bit of side to make it.
Couldn't quite see the potting angle there.
Well, this is not a pattern of the match we were expecting at all. I thought it would be all about big breaks and big clearances. Right now, it's a kind of pressure situation. It's almost like they're playing everything's a deciding frame. They both look a bit edgy. Now you hesitate to call a winner of this frame. He's got an angle here if he wants to get into the cluster in the right corner.
He'll take that. It couldn't have come out better for him.
Yeah, I mean, that was one where you're not quite sure where anything's going. The angle he came in at, just needed to try and get a firm hit on it. That's a pretty good outcome.
That was clever. He knew he couldn't get enough side on it to avoid the yellow, so he used the yellow.
A lot of players would have been trying to get past it. You're sort of saying in your head, don't play unnecessary cannons, but you're absolutely right. Best just to embrace it when you've got to.
Let's see if frame 5 brings any more joy for these players, and it may well do for Tom Cousins. This is probably the best layout so far.
Slightly tame break by his normal standards. I mean, to get a bit of pace into it, but nowhere near as much as he sometimes does. It's a bit subdued in the last couple of frames, understandably given the way the match has gone. It's obviously a good chance for a tournament win. It's a non-ranking tournament, but still a win's a win. A field of 8 is much easier to get through than the normal 96-man pro fields. Loading the cue ball up the side there.
Got more on than he wanted. Pretty sure was he trying to get to the other side of those two reds?
Yeah, but it sort of landed okay to the one to the middle, but you don't think if that was what you were playing, you'd have needed to play it the way he played it.
Well, maybe he was in hindsight, because if he landed the other side, it would have been tricky, but it came out nice, didn't it?
I just feel Tom's on the edge of playing really well. You just feel that he could just click into it. I think in a way, you might say this is the best warm-up for winning a tournament, where you have a difficult first-round match and then you get better as it goes on. Once you get through, of course, that's the key thing. So nothing to do now, back in prime position and all looking easy. Just got to be careful, of course, here, because there's so many reds on this side of the table. Just going to get the cue ball out of that area. Navigates it well.
Yeah, that was a lovely little touch shot from Tom.
Well, the scoreboard reads 4-1, but I'm not sure that tells the full story, because it hasn't been 4 big clearances off the break like it so often is at that scoreline. 2 slightly average breaks already in this match from Tom.
And straighten off. So maybe that will turn the match here.
Well, that's definitely the chance Chris needs. He's got to win all 4 of the remaining frames. He didn't hit that terribly, but just came slightly across it, which is why he found the middle pocket.
Probably his best connection so far. But yeah, obviously still not quite the normal Tom Cousins control. Although, to be fair to Tom, he doesn't always control it as well as some of the other big breakers in the game, but he probably has the most power.
Well, what have we seen with ball in hand, Chris Melling? I mean, this is just extraordinary, the pattern of this match so far. I mean, it wasn't the easiest shot from the angle, but I mean, he could have put the cue ball anywhere. Have we ever seen so many misses?
It's quite incredible what we've seen.
Wow, it's a bad day at the office, and there's a bad day at the office. I mean, Chris has had enough chances to be way ahead in this match. And that's the only difficult ball of the yellows, at least. The 8 ball still is going to need some work. Well, he felt like Chris Melling was going to be a big factor in the entertainment of this event, but it looks like his performance this afternoon could be his only contribution on that front.
Well, I was asked before the play started today what I thought might happen. I just said I think it feels like a Chris Melling day, doesn't it? It feels like a Chris Melling environment, but it's not happened for him at all.
Way the most experienced of the players in this kind of big arena setup normally thrives on it. Normally you'd say if you wanted to beat Chris Melling, you'd be better on a sort of quiet outside table with no one watching. Once you get him to the big arena, it gets a whole lot harder. I mean, really, given some of the misses that Tom's had, if he was to run these out 5-1, he's going to be absolutely delighted, because on another day he could have been on the exact opposite end of that scoreline.
So I don't think he's going to do too much with the 8 ball, probably just cushion red and in. Unless he's got an angle now. He looks absolutely straight. Oh, he did have an angle. And this has opened up the 8-ball, but a little bit tricky to get onto it. But I think he can clip this thing thin enough to come 2 cushions, and the red makes it a somewhat big pocket. And he decides just to drop it in and leave the trickier 8-ball.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you could get onto the jaw between the pocket and the 8-ball. It's not a guaranteed big pocket.
Oh, and it goes though. Amazing match comes to an end. Not the match any of us thought we would see, but it is Top Cat, the #1 player in the game, that has won the match, and he will move on to the semi-finals. Mark, we said beforehand that whoever wins this one, they won't be proud of it, but they can move on.
Well, TC, that was a lot of fun. How much you enjoy the experience? I was chatting to you a little bit earlier, and you said you've never really quite played in an environment like this with a big crowd, lots of lights, all the rest of it. How'd you enjoy it?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I've been in pressure situations before, but this is, I was generally real nervous tonight. It's just playing in front of this crowd and like this is brilliant. And yeah, managed to settle down after a few frames and played all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know you guys are prize fighters and all the rest of it. This isn't anything like a pro series with the kind of pressure, but can you imagine what it would be like if there was 10 grand on the line in this scenario?
I know, it's fantastic. I said to you before, like, it'd be like a dream just to play in this sort of environment for big money, and yeah, looking forward to the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, TC, well played. We will see you in the semi-finals. You can take your leave. Let's hear it for Tom Cousins, everybody.